Hey everyone, happy Friday. There is no football this weekend for Tottenham fans, unfortunately. But is that a good thing? Maybe it's a good thing, right? Maybe we need a break. Maybe we need a week off to allow our enthusiasm for the football and for the team to come back fully so we can get fully on board with what's going on. I guess I'll ask the question, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Have you got over it yet? Last week's defeat? There was a little bit of a meltdown, wasn't there? And there were some quite outlandish things said. And like I said on my video, I'd kind of kept away from any social media because I thought, well, I just want to give my opinion of how I saw it on the day. And I think that was a fair comment. I had a fair few Wolves fans comment on the video, which was cool. No problem with that at all. Most of them were, pretty much all of them were very respectful, and I got no problem with that. And they, like I said to them, they deserved the win. They played well. They had a game plan. I thought their support was brilliant as well. So why not? Why not? But obviously, since then, I have been able to kind of, well, you can't get away from it, can you? You can't get away from kind of social media stuff, and it kind of all comes in, even if you're not looking for it. You'll see it. Your friends will send you it, or whatever, or you'll see it in different WhatsApp groups, all that kind of stuff. So you can't get away from it. So there was a bit of a meltdown. There were some quite outlandish comments and stuff. I'm not sure. Sometimes I wonder whether it's just tongue-in-cheek, just clickbait. I mean, we know that clickbait happens and stuff like that. I'm not sure what people get out of it personally, but, maybe it's how they really felt. I don't know. But there were some people kind of calling Ange to go, and that we're never going to get anywhere, and all this kind of stuff. And I have to be honest with you, I kind of skip past it, dismiss it and stuff, but it does make you think a little bit. And I stumbled across something in terms of West Ham, right? And I don't usually watch kind of stuff from other teams, but this one kind of got me a little bit because they were talking about the fact that West Ham have probably gone through their best period for a very long time. They've won a European trophy, and people can mock it as much as they like. But I'd love to have won that in the year that we were in it, if it weren't for COVID chucking us out. It would have been nice to have been the first English side to have won that trophy. But listen, West Ham have won it, so they've won a trophy. They've had some good success in terms of their positions in the league and some great results. Obviously, beating Arsenal, beating us, those kind of results are good for them. But the biggest problem that they're complaining about, apart from obviously getting stuffed by Arsenal and then by, I can't remember who it was now, someone else stuffed them the week after, last week. But the biggest complaint that was kind of coming out was the style of football and the fact that it was boring and all the rest of it. And it kind of made me think about how I felt watching under Conte and under Mourinho, the fact that actually under Mourinho we got into Europe, we got to a final. Albeit Levy decided to wreck that situation, and under Conte we got top four. Both would have been kind of seen as success, right? But for me as a fan, I hated it. I really didn't like that period. I felt it was really boring football, and there was no passion. There was nothing. I felt disconnected from the club. And for me, this period that we're going through now with Ange and the team and everything else, has kind of really brought me back in. It's brought me back in and made me really feel part of it and engaged and invigorated of what could be. It's given me hope back. And whilst I want us to be successful and I want us to win and all that kind of stuff, I don't want it at any cost, which I think is the same scenario for West Ham. They want to be successful, but they want to be entertained. And I think that's the whole point. I mean, football started off, people watching football started off because people wanted to be entertained. It was something to watch and something to get involved in. So you take that away, and what have you got left? You can have all the success you want. If you look at Manchester City, for instance, and I don't know if I'm going to be disrespectful to them here or not, but when they were a League Two side and kind of going down the leagues and battling to get back up again, their support was massive. They had massive support. I remember going to Main Road and watching them play and all that kind of stuff. And their support was always brilliant, really, really good. And they had some good players over the years and they've been entertaining and all the rest of it. As it stands at the moment, they're one of the best teams in the world. They win everything. They've got fantastic players. They've got one of the best coaches in the world and all the rest of it. They can't fill their stadium. So something's gone wrong there in terms of connection to the club and so on. Losing their identity maybe, losing their underdog or whatever it might be that's really kind of, I don't know. To me, it just seems odd, when you see them on the TV and there's loads and loads and loads of spaces in there, in the stadium, you think it just doesn't make any sense. These guys are entertaining football players that win, 99% of the time, that are, dominating English football and starting to get a foothold into Europe and all this kind of stuff. You think, well, it just shows you how fickle fans can be. So yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting how that's kind of going, and it's how it's made me feel and think about things. And the other thing that talking about football fans being fickle, and I'm guilty of this. I am guilty of this, and I probably owe him an apology. But not that long ago, there was an open training session, and loads and loads of people turned up and all the rest of it. And there was something in the social media stuff that said that Ryan Sessegon was there giving out drinks or something. And I made a comment in a WhatsApp group. He wants to be careful we don't break his wrist or injure his wrist handing them out, which is really disrespectful. Right, it's disrespectful. And then obviously he's come back from a really long injury and he got injured again and so went out. But he's coming back from that injury and he was playing for the under-21s, and yet again his injury has broken down and he had to be carried off the pitch and leaving crutches and all the rest of it. And I thought to myself, Jesus, that kid, he's just a kid. Can you imagine what that's doing for his confidence? What that's doing to his mental health, to his well-being, And I know people will go, oh, he gets paid plenty of money, he ain't worried, he's sitting on his laurels earning $100,000 a week, who cares? Well, when you're a young lad and your dream has been to play football, his dream wasn't to just be a multi-millionaire, his dream was to play football and win trophies and stuff like that. And then here he is, unable to string, 2 games together or even 2 halves together at this rate. How must that be affecting him? I really, really feel for him. It did make me think that how fickle we are to take the piss like we do and blame players and stuff like that. But I do worry for his mental health, the fact of what he's having to go through and how hard he must keep battling to get back to a situation where he could actually play football again. It's a terrible situation for the lad, and I really feel for him. I really do hope that he can get back, even if that's not with Tottenham. You know, if that's not with Tottenham and he goes off to another club and becomes successful, I don't begrudge him that. I guess the point I'm making is I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I don't think he's trying not to play football. I think he wants to play football, and it must just be really, really difficult for him. But on the positive front, apparently Manor Sullivan, Jesus Christ, Manor Solomon is very near to getting back to start off. So hopefully he can come back and start to contribute towards the end of this season. Been very impressed as James Maddison with Manor. So, you know, maybe we have really got a player on our hands. We haven't seen barely anything from him. So, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of good news. And again, and also Bentencur coming out and saying, you know, he feels like he's got a lot to offer and he's going to get back to his best. So he recognises that he's not having as great a time as he would want. So I think there are some positive things happening on the injury front that hopefully will kind of come together at the right time. I think we've got to stay positive. I think we've got to keep believing that we're going in the right direction. Enjoy the good wins when we get the good wins, and kind of try to be sensible when results don't go our way, and hope that the manager can fix this and can find the right solution and the right players to play the way he wants to play. He isn't playing, he isn't changing. And I get the issue of no plan B and all that kind of stuff. But he's got his philosophy that he believes in. But he's got to get the right players to be able to deliver on that. And maybe that mix just isn't right, but it's certainly better than what we've done in the past. And I think the change around in personnel has been massive, and that's going to take time. It's going to take time. So yeah, so just some rambling from me. I know there's no football this weekend, and I'm actually going on holiday, so I'm going to miss the Palace game anyway. I will be in Singapore. I'm going to try and hunt out the Singapore Spurs watering hole if I'm there, if I'm physically in Singapore at the time of the match, and it's at the right sort of time to watch it. Gonna try and find that out. If I do, I shall do a little video from there. But yeah, I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks or so. So if it comes all quiet from me, that's the reason why. I haven't fallen off the edge of the world and thrown me teddy out of the pram and decided not to do videos like I did earlier on in the season. So yeah, so I won't be around. I'll try and do something if I can, but if I can't, I will be back for the Luton game. I think at the end of March, I'll be back up at the stadium. I'm looking forward to that. So if I don't speak to you before, have a good weekend. Have a great couple of weeks whilst I'm away, and keep the faith and hope that Spurs can keep on going in the right direction. Up the Spurs.